Before the world begins to pull at your thoughts, before the noise of the day finds its way into your ears, there's a moment. Quiet, fragile, sacred. The light of morning doesn't rush in. It slides gently across the room, warming the corners where yesterday's worries still linger. The air smells like something new, something possible. Outside, the sky has not yet decided whether to wear blue or grey. And neither has your heart. And maybe that's why you're here. You didn't come for routine. You came because something inside you whispered, start with him. Not with the phone, not with your doubts, not even with the plans that feel too urgent to delay, but with the stillness that remembers who really holds the day. Let me ask you something. What usually owns your first thoughts when you open your eyes? Are they shaped by yesterday's weight or today's wonder? This moment, this one right here, is more than just another morning. It's an invitation, an offering. A door God left slightly open, waiting for you to walk through. You don't need the right words. You don't need to feel strong. You just need to be here, open, honest, willing to hand over the steering wheel before the journey even begins. There's power in how you start. There's peace in who you start with. So take a breath, let your shoulders drop, let the day wait. This isn't about control, it's about surrender. And if you're willing, what comes next can shift not just your schedule, but your soul. Because when God is your first, everything else can find its place. Sometimes the loudest voices aren't outside, they're the quiet ones inside. Before the alarms, before the messages, there's a thought that waits in the silence. It's soft, almost hidden, but it's there. Will today be different? That question comes dressed in many forms. For some, it's worry about what might go wrong. For others, it's hope that maybe this time peace will last. But in every heart there's a voice, asking where to turn first. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand. It simply whispers, let me lead. God doesn't force his way in. He waits, he watches, he offers. And sometimes we don't respond, not because we don't care, but because life feels too full, too rushed, too uncertain. But even then, the whisper stays. What if today, instead of pushing through like always, you paused? What if you gave space for that whisper to grow into a voice? What if your first decision wasn't what to do, but who to trust? That choice changes everything, because when you let God speak before the world does, the noise loses its grip. The pressure shrinks. The path becomes clearer. You don't need to fix everything right now. You don't need every answer. You just need to respond. Here I am. That's all. No fancy words. No perfect posture, just a heart ready to listen. And when you say that, and when you truly open up, something shifts. That whisper becomes a presence. That quiet thought becomes a guide. And slowly you realize you're not walking into this day alone. God's not just watching from above. He's moving beside you, speaking to you, going before you. So listen, not with your ears, but with your spirit. There's a whisper waiting, and it carries the strength you'll need for everything ahead. There comes a moment, not always loud but always real, when you realize you can't carry it all. Not the pressure, not the expectations, not the weight of everything you're trying to control. And in that quiet realization, God leans in. He doesn't criticize, he doesn't shame, he simply invites, let it go, give it to me. But how do you release what you've held for so long? How do you trust someone you can't see with things that feel so heavy? You start by being honest. Honest about the fear that today might fall apart. Honest about the plans that keep spinning in your head. Honest about the people you want to protect, the outcomes you're trying to force, the worries that follow you like a shadow. God isn't asking for perfection. He's asking for permission to step in, to carry what you were never meant to hold alone. So, take this moment, not to explain everything, not to solve everything, just to hand it over. Say it out loud if you need to. God, I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't want to do it without you. That's not weakness, that's courage, because real strength isn't about control, it's about surrender. It's choosing to lay down your fears in exchange for his peace. It's trusting that even in silence he is still present. It's believing that God's hands are safer than your grip. What are you holding today that's already too much? That conversation you keep replaying, that decision you can't seem to make, that relationship you're trying so hard to fix. Breathe. Let the tension leave your shoulders. Let your mind rest. Say this in your heart, or even whisper it aloud. God, I release this to you, the known and the unknown, the hopes and the fears. I can't control it, but I trust that you can. There is beauty in that surrender. Not because it makes the problems disappear, but because it reminds you that you are not alone in them. When you surrender, you stop fighting battles that were never yours to begin with. You stop chasing peace in places that can't offer it. You stop building your day on the shaky ground of self-reliance. Instead, you stand on grace. You walk with a guide. You move forward, not in anxiety, but in confidence, because you handed it to the one who already knows the way. So today, make surrender your starting point. Let it be the foundation you build everything else on, because when God holds your day, it doesn't have to be perfect, just surrendered. And that, friend, is more than enough. The mind awakens before the body does. Thoughts begin to stir, often quietly, sometimes loudly, pulling you in every direction before your feet touch the ground. You may feel steady 1 minute, then suddenly overwhelmed by a memory, a fear, a responsibility. This is the invisible battleground, and it matters more than we realize. Your emotions don't just follow your schedule, they shape it. Your mindset doesn't just respond to the world, it filters it. That's why it's so important to pause, not to escape, not to avoid, but to realign. Before you walk out the door, answer emails, or face anyone else. Stop and ask, where is my focus? Because where your attention rests, your emotions settle. And where your emotions settle, your decisions begin. You weren't designed to operate in panic, distraction, or confusion. God wired you for clarity, for calm, for purpose. But that clarity doesn't come from striving. It comes from centering. Take this moment to center your heart. Let every scattered thought come into order under one truth. You are not in this alone. The Creator of the universe is not only aware of your situation, He's within it. He sees the conversation you're dreading. He knows the pressure you're carrying. He understands the tension you haven't told anyone about, and He's offering you something better than control, alignment, not just emotional relief, but spiritual focus, not just the absence of anxiety, but the presence of peace. Say this to yourself: I do not have to be led by every feeling that visits me. You can acknowledge fear without obeying it. You can recognize pressure without submitting to it. You can feel frustration without letting it define your response. The Holy Spirit doesn't silence your emotions. He helps you sort through them. He's not afraid of your sadness. He's not surprised by your doubts. He gently leads you through them, one truth at a time. Let your mind take a breath. Let your spirit speak louder than your reactions. Ask God for internal stillness. Invite Him to remove the noise. Let Him reveal which thoughts need to stay and which need to be replaced. If your thoughts are racing, slow them down with gratitude. If your heart is restless, calm it with truth. If your focus is broken, fix your eyes again on what's eternal. Alignment doesn't mean perfection. It means choosing what matters most over and over until it becomes your rhythm. So before you move forward, ask yourself, am I operating from fear or from faith? Are my reactions based on truth or on pressure? Have I made space for God to speak into how I feel and what I think? Because when your soul is anchored, your actions follow. And the peace you carry within becomes stronger than the chaos around you. Now that your heart is steady and your mind is focused, there's one more step. Speak, not out of habit, not because it's expected, but because something changes when you give your thoughts a voice, especially when those thoughts are directed toward heaven. This isn't a time for fancy words. It's a space for real ones, simple, sincere, specific. So begin here. God, today I need help with real things. Help with patience when you're tested. Help with wisdom for choices you don't know how to make. Help with peace when stress builds faster than solutions. Invite Him into the exact places you normally try to manage on your own. The unexpected phone call, the difficult coworker, the financial tension, the heavy silence in a relationship that used to feel warm. Nothing is too small. Nothing is too ordinary. If it matters to you, it matters to Him. Ask boldly, God, protect my time today. Keep distractions from robbing what you've placed in front of me. Guide my conversations. Let me speak life, not frustration. Cover my home, my family, my friendships. Place a shield where I cannot. Give me eyes to see where you are already working, even if it's hidden. Prayer isn't just about asking, it's about opening. It's not only for problems, but for alignment. When you pray, you're saying, I don't want to miss what you're doing. So pray about the people you'll meet. The places you'll go, even the emotions you might feel before they show up. Speak ahead of your schedule. Declare hope before conflict. Invite grace into places that usually feel rushed. And if you're facing something you dread, name it. Call it what it is. Don't pretend it's smaller than it feels. Then say, God, I don't know what to do with this, but you do. You'll be surprised how different the rest of the day unfolds when the weight isn't yours to manage alone. God isn't limited by your timing, your options, or your expectations. He can turn confusion into clarity. He can turn delays into development. He can take what looks empty and make it overflow. So pray this too. God, don't just change my circumstances, change how I respond to them. Because often breakthrough starts not around you, but inside you. And don't forget to thank Him before the answers come. Gratitude is the key that unlocks peace while you wait. It's the sign that says, I trust you even before I see it. Your day doesn't have to be flawless to be fruitful. It just needs to be surrendered, covered, and filled with expectation. So speak your prayer. Speak it fully. Not because God needs to hear it to act, but because you need to say it to believe. Each new morning holds the quiet possibility of change. Not because everything around you shifts, but because you can. What happened yesterday does not have permission to define today. The regrets, the missteps, the moments you wish had gone differently, they don't own your future unless you allow them to. This is your reminder. Mercy didn't run out. Grace didn't expire. God didn't give up on you overnight. Even if you feel tired, even if you feel stuck, this moment is still an invitation to release, to reset, to remember who you are and whose you are. Hope is not about ignoring the hard things. It's about believing there's more than the hard things. So ask yourself gently, what have I been carrying that I no longer need to hold? What part of me is still stuck in a moment God has already forgiven? Let those questions guide you, not into shame, but into freedom. This is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about trusting that everything can be made new. Even the pieces you've hidden, even the wounds you've covered, even the dreams you buried because disappointment came too many times. Lift your eyes. You were never meant to walk through today, dragging the weight of yesterday. Speak this softly. I choose to move forward, even if it's with small steps. I choose to believe that healing is possible. I choose to trust that something good can begin again. Let those words rise above your fears. Let them push back the fog. Let them crack the surface of hopelessness, because the God who created time isn't bound by it. He can breathe life into dead seasons. He can rebuild what was torn. He can plant fresh joy in places long forgotten. Today is not just another page, it's the beginning of a new chapter, and you are still part of the story he's writing. Before the rush returns, before your day speeds forward again, stop here, just for a breath longer, not to speak, not to plan, but simply to be. Let silence say what words cannot. Let quiet invite something deeper than noise ever could. You don't always need to talk to connect. Sometimes it's the stillness that draws you nearest to God. When you stop trying to impress, to explain, or to fix, you create space for something sacred to enter. You were not created for chaos. You were shaped for communion. There is peace available that doesn't depend on circumstances. There is presence waiting that doesn't require performance. So be still, not because everything is solved, but because you've decided to trust anyway. Let your breath slow. Let your soul listen. Let your heart soften. God is not far. He's closer than the next thought. He's not waiting for perfection, just for presence. And maybe this moment, right now, is enough. You don't have to do more. You just need to remain. So as you walk into whatever comes next, carry this with you. Peace is not the absence of trouble. It's the awareness of who walks with you through it. Today isn't just yours to handle. It's His to lead. Let that truth hold you. Let it stay. Let it speak.